30 years. That's how long he'd lived in his brother's shadow. 30 years of being the other brother, the less skilled one, the less charismatic one, the one people forgot to mention when they told stories about their family. His brother was everything. Legendary warrior, natural leader, the man everyone loved, the man songs were written about. And he was competent, good even, but never great, never legendary, never the one people chose when both brothers were standing there. His name was Arn, 32 years old, strong, skilled with blade and shield, respected enough, but always in the shadow of his older brother, Erik. Erik the bold, Erik the fearless, Erik who led successful raids, Erik who won impossible battles, Erik who made decisions that saved the clan, Erik who everyone loved. Arn had stopped trying to compete years ago, accepted his role as the supporter, the backup, the brother who held the line while Erik earned the glory. It should have been enough. Supporting your brother is honorable. Being reliable is valuable, but it wasn't enough. Not when every feast, every gathering, every moment involved someone praising Erik while barely noticing Arn existed. Not when women looked at Erik first, always first, even when Arn stood right there. Not when their father's dying words were, "Erik, lead them well." Not both of you, not Arn, support your brother, just Erik, only Erik. Then came the raid, the ambush, the moment when Erik fell, wounded, surrounded, dying. And Arn had a choice: save his brother, rush forward, fight through the enemy, pull Erik to safety, risk his own life to preserve the legend, stay in the shadow forever, or hesitate just for a moment, let the enemies finish what they'd started, watch his brother die, finally step out of the shadow. This is the story of a brother who lived 30 years being second, who had one moment to become first, who had to choose between love and resentment, between duty and liberation, between saving the brother who eclipsed him or letting him die, and finally being seen. The beginning, a lifetime of second. Arn Eriksson was born 2 years after his brother Erik. 2 years that meant everything. Erik walked first, talked first, held a sword first. Everything Arn did, Erik had already done. Better, earlier, more naturally. Their father, Jarl Harald, noticed. How could he not? Erik was special. You could see it from childhood. The way he moved, the way other children followed him, the natural confidence. Arn was normal, not weak, not incompetent, just normal. In any other family, normal would have been fine. Arn would have been the pride of his father, a strong son, a capable warrior, a credit to the bloodline. But he wasn't in another family. He was Erik's brother, and everything he did was measured against Erik's excellence. At 10 years old, Arn won his first practice fight, beat another boy his age convincingly. He ran to tell his father, proud, excited. Harold smiled, patted his head. Good, Arn. Very good. Did you see Erik's fight? He beat 3 boys. 3 at 12 years old. Remarkable. The praise turned to ashes. Arn had won, but Erik had won better. At 15, Arn went on his first raid, fought well, killed an enemy, came home blooded, a warrior proven. The clan celebrated, feasted, stories were told, but the stories were about Erik's first raid. How at 13 he'd killed 2 men, how the Jarl of another clan had personally praised him, how songs were already being composed. Arn sat at the feast, listening to his own first battle being mentioned briefly, then forgotten as conversation returned to Erik's legendary exploits. At 18, Arn asked a girl, Solveig, the blacksmith's daughter, if she would consider marriage. She was kind, pretty. They'd talked several times. He thought there was interest. She looked uncomfortable. Arn, you good, honorable, but your brother Erik. She didn't finish. Didn't need to. The comparison said everything. 2 months later, she married Erik. Arn told himself it was fine. Erik was the better man. Natural that women would choose him. No shame in that. But at the wedding feast, watching Solveig look at Erik with adoration, watching his brother receive congratulations, watching people barely remember he existed, something hardened in Arn that night, something cold. He didn't hate Erik. That was the problem. Hate would have been clean, simple. He loved his brother, admired him even. Erik was genuinely good, kind, called Arn brother with pride, valued Arn's opinion, included him in decisions. Erik wasn't cruel, wasn't dismissive, wasn't deliberately overshadowing. He was just better at everything, and everyone saw it. The pattern, decades of eclipse. 20 years old, their father died. His final words to the assembled clan, weak voice but clear intention. Erik, you will lead. You have the strength, the vision. Lead them well, my son. Not both my sons, not Erik and Arn together, just Erik. Arn stood 3 feet away, watching his father's eyes stay locked on Erik, watching the moment his father's last breath included only one son's name. Erik became Jarl. Arn became his second, his supporter, his reliable backup. Arn organized the supplies. Arn checked the defenses. Arn make sure the preparations are complete. Important work, necessary work, the kind of work that let Erik make the brilliant decisions that everyone praised. No one saw Arn's contributions. They saw results and credited Erik. 23 years old, a massive raid. Erik's plan, bold, risky, brilliant. It worked because Arn had spent 2 weeks meticulously preparing logistics, food, water, backup weapons, contingencies, the boring, unglamorous work that meant when Erik's brilliant gamble paid off, nothing went wrong. The Skalds composed songs about Erik's vision, Erik's boldness, Erik's leadership. Arn's name appeared nowhere, not even as a footnote. 25 years old. A young warrior approached Arn during training. "Your brother is the greatest warrior I've ever seen. What's it like being related to a legend?" The question was innocent, admiring. The young man meant no insult. Arn forced a smile. "It's an honor." What else could he say? "It's exhausting being permanently second. It's soul-crushing being invisible. It's torture loving someone whose existence diminishes yours." He said nothing, smiled, accepted the role. 28 years old, a diplomatic mission, another clan considering alliance. Their Jarl greeted them. "Erik Haraldsson, your reputation precedes you. It's an honor." Looked at Arn, paused. "And you are?" "Arn, Erik's brother." "Ah, of course, Erik's brother. Welcome." The Jarl returned attention immediately to Erik. The entire negotiation happened as if Arn wasn't there. He stood, silent, present but invisible. That night, Erik thanked him. "You're always there, brother. I couldn't do this without you." Arn wanted to scream. "If you couldn't do it without me, why does everyone act like you do?" He said, "Of course, brother, always." The breaking point, the raid. 32 years old, late summer. A raid planned against a wealthy monastery. Erik's strategy, as always, bold, aggressive, high reward, high risk. Arn managed logistics, as always, prepared supplies, organized crews, made sure every detail was covered. 50 warriors, 3 longships, a week's journey. The crossing was smooth, the landing perfect. Erik led them inland through forest, moving fast, hoping to hit the monastery before warning could spread. They were confident, well prepared. Erik had done this dozens of times. Arn had supported dozens of times. The ambush came from nowhere, not from the monastery, from somewhere else. A rival Viking clan also planning to raid the same target. They'd arrived first, hidden, waiting. The attack was devastating, sudden, complete surprise. The shield wall formed instinctively. Erik at the center, commanding, rallying. Arn to his right, steady, reliable. The enemy hit hard, not monks, warriors, prepared, vicious. Erik fought brilliantly, calling commands, adjusting formation, killing with precision. 3 enemies down, 4, 5. He was magnificent. Even now, surrounded by death and chaos, he shone. Then the spear, thrown from the side. Arn saw it coming, saw the trajectory toward Erik. No time to shout warning, no time to intercept. The spear took Erik in the side, below the ribs. Deep, the kind of wound that kills. Erik went down hard. His sword fell from his hand, blood spreading immediately. Dark, serious. 3 enemies saw him fall, saw the legendary Erik down, move toward him, weapons raised. This was their chance. Arn was 10 feet away, through 2 enemies. Not impossible, difficult, but doable. He'd fought through worse, been in tighter positions, saved Erik before, in other battles. His body knew what to do. Move forward, fight, reach his brother, drag him back, save him. That's what 30 years of being Erik's brother meant. You protect him, support him, keep him alive so he can be legendary. His feet started to move, then stopped. A thought, quiet, poisonous, undeniable. If Erik dies, you finally step out of the shadow. The choice, 10 seconds. Everything slowed. Battle still raging around them. Men screaming, weapons clashing, blood everywhere. But for Arn, the moment narrowed to one focus. Erik, wounded, dying, 3 enemies closing, and himself, 10 feet away. The only one close enough to save him. Erik's eyes found Arn, through pain, through fear, but also trust. Complete, absolute trust. His brother would save him. Arn always had his back, always. That trust hurt worse than any wound. Arn's hand tightened on his sword, his shield steady, body ready. Move forward, save him. Be the good brother, the loyal support supporter, the reliable second, or stay still, let it happen. Watch 30 years of shadow finally end. The first enemy reached Erik, raised his axe. Moments from the killing blow, Arn's mind fractured. Two voices, two futures. First voice, he's your brother. You love him. Save him. This is who you are. Loyal, honorable, good. Second voice, he's eclipsed you for 30 years. Every achievement, every moment, every chance at being seen. This is your only opportunity for freedom. First voice, he's never been cruel, never dismissed you, never meant to overshadow. It's not his fault he's better. Second voice, not his fault doesn't make it hurt less, doesn't give you back 30 years of being invisible, doesn't change that as long as he lives, you'll always be second. Erik's face showed pain, but also faith. He wasn't begging, wasn't desperate. He simply trusted. Knew Arn would come. The axe descended. Arn had to choose. His feet could move forward, through the enemies, reach Erik, pull him back, be the brother everyone expected. Or his feet could stay planted, watch the axe fall, watch Erik die. Finally be first. He loved Erik, that was undeniable, true. But he also resented Erik, also felt crushed by his shadow, also wanted desperately to be seen. Which feeling was stronger? The axe was falling, the moment was ending, the choice had to be made now, this second, no more time. Arn moved. The aftermath, living with the choice. Arn moved forward, not because of honor, not because of duty, not because of what people would think. He moved because in that final second he realized something terrible. If he let Erik die, he'd hate himself more than he'd ever resented Erik. The resentment was real. The shadow was real. 30 years of being second was real. But letting his brother die to escape it, that would destroy him. That would make him something he couldn't live with. He burst forward, cut down the first enemy, blocked the falling axe, killed the second, drove back the third, grabbed Erik, dragged him backward through the chaos to safety. Other warriors covered them. The line reformed. The enemies fell back. Erik survived. The wound was serious but not fatal. Healed over weeks. Left a scar. The clan celebrated Erik's survival, praised Arn's rescue. For 3 days, Arn heard his name, heard people talk about what he'd done. Arn saved Erik's life. Arn fought through 3 enemies. Arn is a true brother. For 3 days, he wasn't invisible. Then the song started, about Erik's heroism in the battle, about how he'd killed 5 enemies before falling, about his legendary status growing even larger. Arn's rescue was mentioned, briefly, as part of Erik's story. Even when wounded, Erik was saved by his loyal brother, showing the strength of their bond. Arn's heroism became a footnote to Erik's legend. The shadow returned, quickly, naturally, inevitably. But something was different now. Arn had made a choice. In the moment when he could have let his brother die, he'd chosen to save him. Not because it would make him visible. He'd known it wouldn't. He'd saved Erik because despite 30 years of shadow, despite the resentment, despite the pain, he loved his brother more than he hated being second. That realization didn't make the shadow easier, didn't make being invisible hurt less, didn't change anything about his position, but it gave him something, certainty about who he was. He wasn't the brother who let Erik die. He was the brother who saved him when it mattered most, when the choice was hardest. That wouldn't appear in songs, wouldn't make him legendary, wouldn't change how people saw him, but he'd know, and that would have to be enough. Years later, the real legacy. 5 years after the raid, Erik led the clan to their greatest victory, a massive settlement established, trade routes secured, prosperity ensured. Songs were composed, Erik's name legendary across multiple regions. Arn remained second, managed logistics, handled details, made sure Erik's bold visions actually functioned. Still invisible, still overshadowed, still living in the shadow, but he'd made peace with it. Not happy peace, not joyful acceptance, just peace. He'd had his moment, his choice, and he'd chosen love over freedom, brother over self. That choice meant living in shadow. He'd known it would, made it anyway. 10 years after the raid, Erik died. Not in battle, disease, sudden, devastating. The clan mourned, composed great funeral songs, built a magnificent burial mound. Arn stood at the funeral, listening to stories about his brother, the legendary Erik, the man everyone loved, and felt relief. Not happiness, not joy, just relief that the comparison was finally over. Also guilt for feeling relief. Also grief for losing his brother. All of it at once. Complex, uncomfortable, human. After the funeral, the clan expected Arn to lead. Natural succession. Erik's brother, Erik's most trusted supporter. But Arn surprised them, refused. I'm not Erik. Never was, never will be. We need a leader who can be themselves, not someone living up to Erik's ghost. Choose someone else. The clan argued, insisted. He was the logical choice. Arn stood firm. I spent 30 years being Erik's brother. I won't spend the rest of my life being Erik's replacement. Choose someone else. They did. Chose a young warrior, ambitious, capable, his own person. Arn supported him, advised, made sure logistics ran smoothly, did what he'd always done. But this time, he wasn't in anyone's shadow. The new Jarl was new, building his own legend, not eclipsing Arn, just separate. For the first time in his life, Arn existed without comparison. It felt strange, unfamiliar, like learning to walk again after 30 years of running, but it also felt right. The final truth. 20 years after Erik's death, Arn was 52, still alive, still competent, respected as the elder advisor who kept things running smoothly. A young man approached him one day, 16 years old, eager, full of questions. I heard, "You're Erik the Bold's brother. What was it like having a legendary brother?" Arn looked at the boy, saw himself at that age, before 30 years of shadow, before the choice, before learning to live with both love and resentment. He could tell the expected story. It was an honor. Erik was magnificent. He could tell the bitter story. It was torture. I was invisible. He told the true story. Both stories. Erik was magnificent, brilliant. Everyone loved him. I lived in his shadow for 30 years. It hurt every day. I resented him, even though he'd never been cruel, even though he loved me. The boy looked confused, uncomfortable. This wasn't the simple hero story he'd expected. Arn continued. One day Erik was dying. I could save him or let him die. If he died, I'd finally be seen, finally be first. What did you do? I saved him because love was stronger than resentment. Not by much, but enough. Did it get better after you saved him? No, I stayed in shadow for the rest of his life. Invisible. Second, just like before. Then why did you save him? Arn smiled, sad, honest, because I had to live with myself afterward, and I couldn't live with being the brother who let him die. The shadow was painful, but that would have been worse. The boy thought about this. So you chose to suffer? I chose what I could live with. Sometimes those are the same thing. The boy left, uncertain, confused. Life hadn't given him that kind of complexity yet. Arn watched him go, thought about Erik, about 30 years of shadow, about the choice, about living with both love and resentment, honor and pain, duty and desire for freedom. He'd never be legendary, never be remembered. When people told stories about his clan's glory years, they'd talk about Erik, always Erik. Arn would be a footnote, and his loyal brother Arn. That was his legacy. Loyal brother, reliable second, the man who saved the legend and remained in shadow. It wasn't glorious, wasn't satisfying, wasn't the life he'd wanted, but it was the life he'd chosen. In the moment when he could have chosen differently, when murder by inaction was possible, when stepping into light required only staying still, he'd chosen to move forward, save his brother, stay in shadow. And somehow that choice, the hardest choice, was what let him live with himself. Not happily, not without pain, but with integrity. He'd been given a moment when love and resentment were perfectly balanced, when saving or killing his brother were equally possible, when the choice was truly his, and he'd chosen love. That wouldn't make him legendary, but it made him someone he could be. In the end, that had to be enough, because being second to someone you loved was painful, but being first because you'd let them die, that would have been unbearable.